Hey, welcome to Chamber Live. My name is McGill, host of Chamber Live, and we will get into our show today as we have a great show lined up with Imari Oliver as well as Lisa Bonner. We're going to talk both today, one about Web3, and the other we're going to talk about the legal side of entrepreneurship. All right, Raquel, we're going to bring you in so you can do your recap. You ready there, sis? Let me see. Two shot. Raquel, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, I am well, everybody. So one of the things that we want to tell you about the Atlanta Black Chamber is if there is cutting edge technology and we're going to be on the forefront of something, we're going to go out, we're going to jump in front of it, and we're going to, I don't want to say like take a risk, but we are going to get out there and see how this works. So just to talk about some of the amazing things that happened in May. On May 9th, we had we had a brand tech webinar with Nina Simmons, who is the Atlanta Black Chamber's graphic artist. She did a whole thing on Canva, and I'm involved with Nina on other groups, and they want a second chance. They want a replay. They want her to do it again. And what let me calm down.
It's
What
all right.
happens
It's
is
all right. We are live.
she's our
We're good to go. Let's
designer.
go. We good.
She's our graphic designer. She came on and gave you tips, tricks, and techniques. So even if you don't want to do your own graphic design, you can be aware of what your graphic designer goes through to make sure all your stuff is pretty. Now let's go to May 13th. Friday the 13th, we went to Bomb Biscuits in the Krog Street near downtown Atlanta, and we went in and we did a brick and mortar takeover. We
Yeah,
went
that was an
to
amazing event.
our brick and
That was an amazing event. I
it
saw you
was
guys. I want to find it. I want to find it because you and Michelle brought smiles to my face whenever I saw that live video you did. But go ahead.
uh, it was so amazing. There it is. It was so amazing for us to go into Bomb Biscuits, and what we were able to do is just kind of bring you outside and walk you through the experience of when we support our brick and mortars. We were so serious. And I want to say, I think Bomb Biscuits was overwhelmed in the very best way possible. We went in there and did a major ribbon cutting. So the next thing we did was on May 21st, which is my date of birth, we did a veterans entrepreneur certification event. So everyone that is a veteran entrepreneur, either involved in the Atlanta Black Chambers, or either a member or not a member, we had a sit down, bring your laptop. You're going to leave this event being veteran certified. We made sure that everybody that was in that room was able to walk away with all the tools and techniques they needed to do that. And then just the last thing I want to talk about is the ribbon cutting that we did in Lilburn with Tracy Jones and her salon. It was just amazing to be in the Stone Mountain, Lilburn area, talk to Tracy about her salon and the amazing things that she's doing there, but also be able to talk to the other Black-owned businesses that are in that same community. And the I think it was called Swag Pets. Ashley, who's next door, she joined the chamber the same day, and it was so amazing to be able to do those things.
We're definitely going to be more intentional about being out in the community. As we've talked about this so many times, there are many people like a salon owner or a barbershop, restaurant, you name it, pet shop, things of those nature that are Black-owned businesses that are in the community, and they can't come to our meetings. They won't be able to make it the first Friday because they have a business to run. But we're going to be very much more intentional about going out and going to these businesses and being present. And so I was so proud of the work that you did in that space to go out to that business and do that ribbon cutting. You're going to see more of that, more opportunities. If you're interested in doing those type of activities and you're a member of the chamber, reach out to us here at the chamber. Let's talk about when we can schedule that all over the community, not just in the city. We're talking the West Side. We're talking about Gwinnett County. We're talking about Cobbs, of course, the South Metro, which I'm have an affinity for, living down south. we're going to be out and about in the marketplace. So we're looking forward to that. So let's talk about what's coming up. First Friday, I want to get your take. First Friday, are you excited? We haven't had First Friday in almost 2 years.
Am I excited? I am super excited. We haven't had a First Friday in 2 years. So just to think about what we're doing, going forward. Sorry. First Fridays is going to be everything. In the past, one of my key takeaways from First Friday was to see the pockets of members in the parking lot,
absolutely,
making deals, creating
absolutely,
joint ventures. So
absolutely,
coming to this First Friday, we have amazing food, we have amazing vendors, amazing keynote speakers, but then afterwards, people who wanted to connect with other members, they get the opportunity to do that. It's always been, I cannot wait until tomorrow.
And thank you to Atlantic Technical Village, Atlanta Technical College, that will be hosting us tomorrow. Once again, it's the Denard Conference Center there at Atlanta Tech. Dr. Victoria Seals, president of the university over there, the college over there. And so we're looking forward to it. COVID had us all kind of playing it close to the vest for 2 years, and we're getting back out here. And that was always very well attended. We had some amazing people. John O'Brien, I remember, spoke one time on our First Friday. We just had some great folks. And to think where we were then to where we are now, at over 600 members in this organization and growing every day, new members of the joint organization every day. I'm looking forward to connecting with a lot of folks tomorrow.
Just one thing that I want to add is we used to do our ribbon cutting and our grand openings for businesses, and we would just take pictures and then post them on social media. But all of our ribbon cuttings will be on Facebook Live going forward. So we are super excited about that.
Great job, Raquel. We appreciate you and what you're doing there. So let's get into our guest today. As we mentioned, we have a couple of amazing guests here today, and I was very intentional about who we chose today because there's some synergy there. Imari Oliver was on our Tuesday talks last week, I believe it was, not this past Tuesday, but Tuesday before last, and we've had some opportunity. This brother is making some moves here in the market. He is by far trying to help to change the game along with so many other amazing people in the marketplace. And so we wanted to make sure that we brought him on the show. We wanted to make sure that he had an opportunity to talk more about it because even though he's based up in the NYC, he's trying to get it done down here in the ATL. Good brother, Imari Oliver. Good afternoon, my man. How you feeling?
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, both of you guys. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so as we mentioned, Imari, you are getting it done, man. You're working on some very big projects here in the market. You have an amazing career that goes back some 20-plus years, like a lot of us have been working at it. But a lot of that stuff doesn't matter, man. The game is changing so much. The way things are moving, the way things are operating are moving so fast. But I want you to we can't eat the elephant, right? I wanted you to start because I know, brother, I know you can go. And I know you got a lot on your mind. But I want to start off and talking about this Web 3.0 because that's something that you're really, really focused on right now. And I want you to talk to us about why that is so important for us to learn what's going on in the Web 3.0 world and why that's the future of what's going to happen in entrepreneurship and business.
Yeah, and thank you. And I always like to start by going back to the root of how I ended up here. And it actually started with Raquel. I was at Rice, and as the members will get to know me, I am very, I'm a Brooklyn guy. So if we see something, we're going to try to.
It's Brooklyn in the house. Y'all always absolutely everywhere, boy.
Absolutely. And as I was sitting there, and that was the first time seeing someone in that office, and I was like, wow, I'm doing events. And I was like, hey, Raquel, and I just started talking. And Raquel said, look, I'm on my way out. So make it quick. And if it wasn't interested, I would listen and I would never say anything to you again. But because it's interesting. And I think the next day I joined the chamber. And then I think 2 days later, I was talking to Brother Miguel and others within the chamber. So excited to share with you my thinking about Web3. And Web3, people probably hear, Web3, NFTs, blockchain, fintech, you name it. These are all buzzwords. Some people are like, what in the world is going on? But the importance is we're in the middle of a shift. In 2004, 2009 was when a lot of these companies really came online. When you think about Amazon, YouTube, Facebook, all of those companies, there's this window where everything changes. And we're in this new window where I believe everything is changing for the next 25 to 30 years, literally a generation. And Web3, there's a lot of ways to define it. It's like around decentralized, meaning no one controls it. Right now, everything is centralized where one company controls everything. This one is everything is distributed across a lot of different platforms. So blockchain, when you start thinking about blockchain, similarly, anything that's put on blockchain, it stays forever. You can never break it. You can't change it. It's just there. You can only add to it. So Web3 is decentralized. It's this new way of working in which your digital wallet, if you have them, you'll know what it is. There's websites, you go to a site and they'll say connect your wallet. That will now provide your access. Another thing around Web3 is your identity. You control your ID, you control your identity, you allow people to know, allow companies to know, at least conceptually, that's how it's supposed to work, where you allow companies the amount of information that that you want them to know about you. So we're quickly moving to a cookieless world where, if you go to any website and right at the bottom it says you get all these cookie choices, and I know everyone's tired of always clicking, select this one or that one, but you'll move to a world where your wallet, which is your ID, which is this long number that you will use to connect to this new Web3 world, true Web3. Now, that's the technical aspect of Web3. I'm more interested in the human aspect of Web3. The human aspect of Web3 is based on collaboration, is based on partnership, is based on teamwork. And I've really leveraged that to my advantage because I reach out to everyone now in the spirit of Web3, so to speak, because if you are a proponent of Web3, then you understand it's about community. And then we start going down a rabbit hole of the power of community. And one thing with the Black community and Black folk is community has always been very, very important to us. So this should be our like playground where we're excelling in this new Web3 space. Unfortunately, we're not in it in a way that's going to really make a difference. And I hate to sound like Noah's Ark, Noah telling everyone the floods are coming, but I will say the floods are coming. And if we're not part of this new digital economy, Web3, fintech, blockchain economy, we're going to be in a world of hurt because the stats and the data points are already showing us falling behind tremendously. So this is almost a call to arms for everyone to begin understanding at least at a foundation level what Web3 is.
So let's talk about, because this is all in the same world of the blockchain, things of that nature that are moving away from the dollar being what is controlling how we're moving, right? And so we're talking about the ability to buy and sell this currency. We're talking about the ability to get into the metaverse, which even to me is kind of like, you know what I mean? I'm not a big, to imagine to get out there in the world and you're creating these worlds outside of what we're looking at every day. You just kind of freaks you out a little bit. But you're saying it's really not something that we really need to be freaked out about. It is what it is. It's coming. We're not going to stop it. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be creating wealth in that space, and we need to find a way to be a part of this movement.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. I did an event last year in New York called FinTech Black Fest, which we'll be having this year in November in Atlanta. And there were a few people who spoke who became millionaires coming out of the event because they started selling NFTs, taking their art, taking their creative capital, the things that they've built and designed, and put them on the open market, and people would purchase it and they would buy them. So, recently if anyone's familiar with Gary V, I spoke I moderated a few panels at VCon. And one of the things that, as I'm talking to one gentleman who created his community, he's selling his NFTs. He had one for 2.8 million. I think it was like 1,500 Ethereum or what have you. And he's selling them, and he's already a millionaire. But the beauty is he just didn't start putting up art. He's a doodler, but what he did is he built a community. So the days of having 1,000,000, 2, 3, 4, 5 million people in your community is not really necessary anymore. All you need is the people that really support you and care about what you're doing. They're the ones that's going to support and purchase your NFTs and support you in any way that they can. The same thing with Micah Johnson, who is, a cool world. And if you guys don't know who he is, Micah is incredible. He created this whole world starting with one question. His nephew asked him, could Black people be astronauts? And that one question created a multi-million-dollar business for him, where he's being seen as the future Disney, Walt Disney, in building worlds. And I'm excited to partner with him and his organization to bring some of the things that we're doing down to Atlanta as well. But overall, there's so many opportunities, so many ways to play in this space. But the key is it starts with, there's a few things that I think are must-haves, like non-negotiables. You got to have a digital wallet. Even if you never, ever use it. You couldn't have attended VCon if you didn't have a digital wallet, because you couldn't buy NFTs. You couldn't get any of these special rewards, drops, anything if you didn't have an NFT. You were limited in terms of anything that you could do if you didn't have a digital wallet. That's going to be your passport into that world. Now, let me just give one more example of what that can look like. Let's point to healthcare or life insurance. If you want to get, if you're trying to get life insurance, they want to look at all your health records and all of that stuff like that. And now they ask you to send in some paperwork or some documents. Now you have to mail it in, or your doctor mail it in. Now they have physical copies of your records. They only need it once to make a decision. But overall, you'll start seeing, I was reading stories of how people personal documents were in the trash and people were finding it on the street and things like that. But with a digital wallet, I can give you access to the information you need, and I could just say, you can only have access to this information for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then shut it down. You do not need my information longer than you need to make decisions. And with your wallet, all the information, you decide what you want to share with them. So that's the beauty of, imagine now you control everything about yourself and your identity. Now, Amazon, Instagram, Facebook, they know more about you than you know about yourself at this point. Right. But the point of the matter is, we're moving to a new world where they're going to now have to pay you to have access to your information.
Yeah. So, and then Raquel, I'm coming to you because I know you got something over there, but I want to make sure we don't overwhelm the audience, right? Because this is something that is a lot. It's like drinking out of a water hose right now, but we got to learn how to drink. Because when we look up and all of a sudden, when they start packaging it up in those little Dasani size bottles, we're too late. We're way too late. Somebody already monetized it. They didn't package it up. They're already making all the money, and we're just consuming this thing. So when you said the digital wallet was important, right? You said the deal about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, was something that was important. And as we've had conversations, there was a meeting we were on, and there was a brother that you have an association with, who has musical artists that are releasing music videos as NFTs. And so if you make it as simple as possible, it is, and people hear me say this all the time, there's a market for everything and everybody. If you build your market, and if your market is willing to pay X amount of money for that particular exclusivity to that product or service, then you may make more money off of 10,000 people than a major artist may make off of 2 million, because it's a direct conversation. Because you think about the situation a couple of years ago where the guy who bought the new Wu-Tang album and never released it, the pharmaceutical guy bought the album, never released it. Now Wu-Tang is in litigation trying to get hold of that album so they can release it to the masses of the community. So does that kind of make sense a little bit on kind of bringing it down to what it goes and get it?
I think you hit it spot on. And anything could be an NFT. A tweet could be an NFT. I mean, I think Jack Dorsey sold his first tweet as a NFT, and someone bought it. A good friend of mine sold his baby sonogram as an NFT for almost $30,000 for a baby sonogram. But there's people that collect that stuff. Who knew? Crazy. It was a market for baby sonogram. So anything could be a NFT if someone wants to, purchase it or if there's a market for it. But the opportunities are immense. When we start having conversations around wealth generation, legacy building, financial empowerment, financial equity, DAOs, DAO is probably the most important three-letter word that everyone should know about, because you can literally change the fortune of a community literally overnight with a DAO. I mean, the Constitution DAO, they raised $48 million in hours to buy one of the last remaining copies of the Constitution. There's Links DAO, they raised 20 something million dollars, and these are hours in order to purchase, to be part of the building of a golf course where they haven't even defined where it's going to be yet. They're already bringing in sponsors for this to be determined golf course. They're doing DAOs just for special interests. There was a DAO for the Ukraine, to raise money for Ukraine. There's DAOs there's single purpose DAOs, there are DAOs for anything. But, Atlanta Black Chamber of Commerce could be a DAO. Any of those things, and DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. But the beauty and the power is that we literally give the power back to the community. So imagine now if in your neighborhood, you're saying we need a grocery store and you have a DAO. Well, guess what? Someone can write a proposal, and the proposals are real simple. It's like a series of questions you answer. There's no more than 20 questions. The community votes on it, whoever owns the token or NFT. If they want to fund it, they fund it. And guess what? You'll have a grocery store. If you want to create jobs for your youth and your community, you could do all of those things. That's the power of the full thing of the tech side of Web3 and the human side of Web3 is coming together. You could do amazing things. And just my last thought on this, the winners and losers for the next generation are being decided now. So that's important to understand. Where do we want to play in this space? The trend lines for Black folk and the Black community aren't looking good right now. In terms of by 2045, 86% of the jobs we're not going to be available to us because of the digital economy. By 2053, there's a report says that the median net worth of Black America will be zero. Last year, the net worth dropped by 14%. So overall, if that trend line holds true, we're not even going to make it to 2053 before we have a median net worth of zero.
Well, we're not going to let that happen, because we've got enough folks out in this marketplace who are going to keep it. I'm going to try to keep the positive perspective on that thing, but I'm with you. These are real. Raquel, before we try to transition, you got anything because I know we're going to get Imari involved with your event in August. I'm sure that's coming up. We want to make sure. And before we go too, you've moved the dates of your events, your two events. There's people in the chat that's asking about the FinTech event as well as the Rock Hard X. Let's talk about those two real quick, and Raquel, we'll let you close out.
Yep. So Rock Art X, we've started getting a lot of interest around being part of this festival experience. And it's really, everything has an education component underlying it. So you actually, by attending this event, you actually learn all the things you need to know. Like, you'll be able to get a digital wallet. You'll have access to NFTs. You'll learn about DAOs. You'll see this stuff in action in real time. So it's more about, you'll see it in music NFTs. If you ever want to learn how to mint an NFT, if you want to learn how to build a community, you could do that. So Rock Art X is happening September 21st through the 25th in Atlanta. We've moved it. We have some really interesting and fascinating people that are going to be part of it. I'm hoping everyone in this community is part of it and get involved. But it's going to be one of the dopest events. And we're also launching it in 2 African countries at the same time. So out the gate, it's becoming global. FinTech Blackfest, this will be the 2nd year. FinTech Blackfest, the dates are November 1st through the 4th. And more detail on that will be forthcoming. But if you go to the website, FinTech, FINTECHBLK.com, we left all the content from last year up there, so you can see it all, from the podcast to all the videos to everything we've kept up there, because that content is extremely important. And we had everyone from the head of crypto for Visa to the Harlem Globetrotters and Snoop. So you can experience it all. And it's one of those things that it's crucial as we start thinking about workforce development, creating new talent pipelines, career pathways. This is the future. I don't
Yeah.
see, to me, there's nothing else more important um, for our communities than, the Web3 fintech blockchain world.
So I want you to hang out, Imari, because we're going to have our next guest here on very shortly, Lisa Bonner, Esquire. She actually has a lot of clients in the entertainment space. And so towards the end of the show, we'll kind of bring everybody back on. But Imari's going to hang out with us right after the show. We're going to do our post-show conversation on Twitter Spaces. And so the link for Twitter Spaces is in the comments on Facebook. We hope to see you there because, as you can tell, Brother Man has a lot on his mind. He's got a lot to share. And we want to make sure if you have some questions directly, you'll be able to get direct access with him on Twitter Spaces. If you don't know Twitter Spaces, it's real easy, it's real quick. You pick it up on your phone. And I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of forcing y'all hands a little bit. I'm kind of hitting y'all with the medicine a little bit because there's a lot going on in Twitter, Clubhouse, fan base. There's a lot of conversations, a lot of businesses and organizations and communities being built outside of these physical spaces that we are used to. We've talked about this many times. Many of us are Gen X and above. We're Gen X, and some of us are even in the baby boomer range. We do have some millennials as well, but obviously. But we as Gen X, we have to change the way we're thinking. So if you want to talk to this brother directly, you want to know about how you can be a sponsor of these events, if you want to know about all these other opportunities, talk to them directly, connect with us on Twitter Space in about 30 minutes. All right, Kia, Lord, I'm talking about my other show, Raquel. So great interview with Imari, and so we're going to have Lisa on here in just a second, and we got to have him on with your event in August, right? Is he going to be a part of that event, or am I giving away your lineup already?
You're not. So basically, usually when we do this setup, we talk about what's coming in the next month, but August 27th, 2022, we have our Biz Savvy Artist Academy, and we're super excited about who our keynote speaker is. We will be announcing that real soon, but Imari's already gone, and you kind of teased me a little bit, but VCon, I am a Gary Vaynerchuk fangirl. Like, I love everything that comes out of his mouth, and just to know that Imari was there in the presence of Gary, that means we are like, what, less than 6 degrees separations from, being in the presence of Gary Vaynerchuk. And he's a really dope marketing, and I'm going to say this, badass. Like, Gary, he doesn't cut any punches when he is passionate about
Absolutely.
a thing. So a lot of the things that Imari was talking about, we've had discussions about the Arts and Entertainment Committee within the Atlanta Black Chamber coming together and creating NFTs as a group, and then launching those, and then making them a part of the, crypto kind of blockchain community within the Atlanta Black Chamber. So excited about the fintech subcommittee that has been created within the Atlanta Black Chamber, which will be chaired by Corey Henry. So a lot of amazing things are going on in the crypto space and the blockchain space here in the Atlanta Black Chambers. But I just wanted to fangirl real quick over Gary Vaynerchuk. I love him.
Hey, man, we know Gary's getting it done, and Gary is an ally. Gary is someone who cares about the success of a lot of different cultures of people. He is not, he's an ally. If you don't know who Gary is, Gary V is. His content is a ton of content out there on all the social media platforms, and it was a great audience he had there in Minnesota. All right, let's slide on over because we want to get a good conversation in here with Lisa, and then we want to bring in Imari for a few minutes, and then we'll slide over to Twitter Spaces. But Lisa is someone I met her in the last couple of years. High energy, love her energy, fun as all get out. But she's about her business, and so she's got a new book she's just released. See if you guys can see it. And we wanted to give her an opportunity to come on, not only talk about our book, but talk about how this can help the entrepreneurial community in Atlanta. Lisa Bonner, how are you, sis?
Hi, I'm well.
Lisa Bonner, Esquire. Let me make sure I get that right, because you
don't. I think I have an echo.
You have an echo?
Are you hearing it?
No. If you have Facebook on in the room with you, turn that volume down. You
I
shouldn't have
don't.
an echo. I don't know why you would have an echo.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so welcome to the show. Welcome to Chamber Live. And so, as we mentioned, you got this brand new, beautiful, beautiful book. I got my copy a couple weeks
Thank
ago, and
you.
we're getting into it now. But let's talk about your career as an attorney, because you have you always focused in the entertainment space.
For the most part, yes.
Yeah.
I have been a lawyer for 24 years and about 20, no, 25. I've been about 23 and a half
Okay.
as an entertainment lawyer. I was a litigator and a bankruptcy attorney at first.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. And so, and so, somebody talk to us a little bit about some of the people you've represented over the years.
I mean, I've represented a lot of people from Nelly to Brian McKnight to, I mean, lots of people, Lynn Whitfield. I
Got it.
mean,
Got it.
I
We had
represent studios, Universal, NBC Universal, Endeavor Content. I mean, I have a lot of clients across the board.
So we always enamored with it with what people see on the front, which is the entertainment side and the finishing product. But and I don't know if you're following this Monique D.L. Hughley stuff that's going on right now. Yeah, obviously you're all by the look on your face. But that is the part of the business that we as consumers don't really pay as much attention to, right? We're all enamored to have fun when they get on that stage and they entertain us or in that movie. But there's a lot of things that happen before we get to the point that we're entertained. And
Yeah.
so talk to us a little bit. You don't have to talk about that unless you want to, but about situations about how important legal representation is in entertainment space. And I want to move over to us as entrepreneurs here on this level.
Well, I think not only in the entertainment space, but it's it's really important to have representation and have a properly executed contract from just the very beginning. I mean, in all spaces, whether you're an entrepreneur, entertainment, whether you are, in corporate, I think that your paperwork needs to be as airtight as possible because that's always what you have to fall back on. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's a lot of work that goes into it. I think if you get the appropriate, a good attorney that is skilled in that particular area, because a lot of times people come to me, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, no, I don't do real estate. I'm not a real estate lawyer,
Right.
but talking, embedding attorneys and making sure that you get your appropriate counsel, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
just making sure you are asking the appropriate questions, and I think it's also important that people are empowered with what the industry standards are, whatever it is, whether you're a recording artist or whether you're a television or the CEO of that particular company. I mean, I think wealth is knowledge is wealth, and I think it's important that we really stay focused
Yeah.
and stay and make sure that we are focusing on the right things with our attorney and interviewing that person as well, your
You
attorney as well.
you hear
So
some
real
you hear go ahead, Raquel. Go ahead.
So as the chair of the Arts and Entertainment Committee, we work with a lot of emerging artists, and a lot of them are not, they think they can't afford an attorney. When would you recommend that they bring on an attorney? Like when there's payment being negotiated, because that always seems like to be the big deal. Like I want to make sure I get paid, so let me hire a lawyer. When should an emerging artist engage an entertainment attorney?
I feel as anytime they're given paperwork, that they are expected to sign. Um, I know a lot of people say I can't afford an attorney, but there's probably somebody out there just that will work with you within your budget.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be me or someone that has my level of experience, but there are people, who are, you know, maybe can have the appropriate um, type of knowledge and the level of knowledge, I should say, that is appropriate to help them at their stage in the game. So, what if you are, a producer, for example? There are a lot of young lawyers who know how to do producer deals versus if you are
Mm-hmm.
signing a record deal that's 80 pages or a publishing deal that might be a little bit more extensive knowledge required. So, but I think it's people always say, I don't have money, but they find money for everything else. So I think it's really important that, they take that and and if you don't, then don't be upset that you got the short end of the stick because that's the nature of the game.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You can go pawn one of them bags, those expensive bags you got
Yeah,
in,
exactly.
in your closet to make sure you can buy more of them on the back end, right? Uh,
Correct.
and so, I say that in jest, but it's real. You hear so many horror stories. How many times have we heard a New Edition horror story of coming home off tour with a dollar
Several times.
87 cent, $1.87
Hmm.
in checks after touring all over the country.
Not my clients, but I know that they're out
Not
there.
your clients. We know you taking care of your clients. Let's talk about.
They got a car instead of a contract, things like that.
Right. Let's talk about this book.
Okay.
Tell us about the idea and the reason why you wrote this book. And obviously, as you mentioned, you've been in the game a long time, and everybody can't afford your hourly rate. But how much knowledge would they get out of this book that they may get, from you personally?
Well, I wrote the book, The Legalities of Entrepreneurship, to really empower inspiring entrepreneurs, existing entrepreneurs. Because as I said earlier in the broadcast, that I think knowledge is power when it comes to your work and what you're doing. So I think it's really important that you take time to learn about how to properly set up a business. I think it is important that you learn what the differences are in the corporate structure, the LLCs, the corporations. It's imperative that you understand what the difference between an independent contractor and, an employee, for example, and trademark.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand that. They think they could just go to LegalZoom and fill out a trademark application, and it's going to voila be filed, and that's not really it.
Right.
Trademarking is an art. I'm an intellectual property lawyer, and I don't really fool with the trademarks. I hire another attorney to do my trademarks for me and my client.
Say
But
say
I think
that
it's
say that again. Say that
yeah. I
again.
mean,
Someone with your experience, you don't, as a lawyer, you don't do all your legal work yourself.
no, absolutely not. I have when I get contracts, even when I'm a talent, I don't do my own contracts because I want to be seen in that particular version as talent, not the lawyer who is, I could do it myself,
Sure.
but I can't do trademark myself. But I
Sure.
have lawyers for everything. Like I have a real estate lawyer, like I
Correct.
said, we aren't one size fits all. But
Correct.
I did write the book to empower the entrepreneur and really try and break down very complex legal um, structures and concepts into bite-sized format and an easy to digest, I would almost say entertaining um, method.
So when I look at some of the chapter names, we talk about the tea time, and then you got chapters and tea times. It's all about your mindset. Bet on yourself. Flexibility is the key. The art of saying no. I want to know about the art of saying no.
Everybody does. Everybody does. And I think so. The tea times are basically those chapters that I break it down to you in real life war stories, anecdotal stories, and cautionary tales about the perils of working too hard, inappropriate networking. There's nothing worse than trying to get in the door and networking all wrong. The art of saying no. People have problems saying no.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
even, I have a title, a tea time in there entitled Even God Rested. And
Mm.
there's a difference between saying no and resting. You can't rest if you don't say no, and the entrepreneurship is a marathon, not a sprint. And
Right.
it's important that we take time out to really nourish ourselves and renew ourselves and replenish our spirit and not just, and we have the thing that's like glorifying being busy and staying busy. I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy.
Mm-hmm.
But you really honestly don't have or take the time to rest.
There used to be in my younger. I don't know why. I guess because I'm turning 50 this summer. I got all these old head isms right now, right? But back in the
Watch
day,
it now.
right. I used to have this little. I printed off a printer. It was a picture of a chicken with his head cut off, and I had on it avoid fake hustle, and I had to remind myself a lot of times because busyness is not productivity all the time. A lot of times busyness is not productivity, right? So I think that's what we're talking about. We have to be productive and make sure we're running in the right direction. talk to me about. I want to switch gears on you a little bit because I want to bring back Imari in here in just a second. You're dealing with a lot of artists, a lot of people in the music industry, entertainment industry. What are some of the more seasoned entertainers think about this NFT and what's going on in this world? Because there's a lot of entertainers that are getting wealthy in this space, and are some of your clients talking about it yet?
Some of them are, but I'm real speculative on the NFT situation. I mean, because it is so unregulated and volatile. People spend $10,000 on a painting that's worth a penny. I mean, it's arbitrary in my opinion. But in terms of like currency, people are trying to put, that they may be paid in Bitcoin or some other kind of e-currency if in their contracts. And sometimes the production companies are okay with it, but most times they aren't.
Okay.
So that's one of the things, but I'm not a big fan. And maybe I'm, skeptical at this point because it's very unregulated and it's too arbitrary for me.
Yeah,
I'd rather invest in something that I know of, like real estate, or something that I know that holds its value. But everybody's jumping on the train, and that's I guess that's fine.
Got it. Before we bring Imari back in, where can people buy your book? I want to make sure that we get that in so we don't miss that opportunity.
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Barnes and Noble. Anywhere books are sold, really. Miguel, have you left your review?
No, I haven't left my review.
You have to leave your review,
please. I have to leave my review.
And if you purchase it, please leave a review.
We will make sure we take care of that. Let me bring Imari in so we can finish out the show strong with all of our wonderful guests. Both, as we mentioned, we got Imari Oliver, Bond and Play. It's his company. Lisa Bonner Esquire, who's an attorney at law, practicing specifically in the entertainment space and just in that space. But I wanted to bring everyone in as we do every week and kind of wrap up the show. Great conversation. I think that we all, whether it be marketing, in Web3, legal, all this stuff, we're all working together. The bottom line is all said and done. So one thing that Lisa just mentioned, she was saying that, it's kind of speculative. A lot of folks are still uncomfortable in the NFT space, and I want to get your feedback on that.
Well, I definitely hear that quite a bit. And, the reality is the NFTs, we're talking about NFTs currently in such a narrow way. We're talking about it particularly around JPEGs and just art. And the functionality around NFTs is so much more than just that. I mean, your diploma, or your college degree can be an NFT. Your deed to your home could be an NFT and live on a blockchain. Receipts, everything can, be on the blockchain. It can be an NFT. You can document history the right way, and that can live on on the blockchain as an NFT. So, the world of NFTs, and I hope we do quickly get past thinking about NFTs as just the art component of it, because it's such a small piece of it. It's just, that's the thing that, I know you haven't said it, but it's the thing that has captured the imagination of everyone, and it has moved things forward. I mean, Raquel is a fan of Gary Vee. When I in this stadium and I'm watching everyone that has a V friend, version 1 and version 2, and I'm watching, how they view it and how that community has grown. There's value there. The challenge is, 98% of NFTs are going to fail anyway. I know a lot of people have NFTs that are just sitting on OpenSea, and no one will ever buy it because there's no reason to buy it. It's not going to increase in value. There's no community behind it. There's no story behind it. So I always tell people, before you even start thinking about NFTs, the key is, what is your why? Like, why are you, if you're going to be the art NFT, then why? Are you really interested in building a community? If you're not, then figure out something else to do.
That's the word I was listening for. So the community has to be built before you try to start selling an NFT. Absolutely. Because no one has an interest in what you're trying to sell.
Absolutely. Everyone has to build their community. And for some reason, like I always say, there's no shortcuts. And for whatever reason, some people think, I'm going to create this great piece of art that I love, and everyone is going to want to buy it. And the reality is, I think when Prince said it, and I did a tour of Paisley Park, so I'll quote Prince in this one. his dad told him, "You're the only one that no one loves your music but you," or something like that. I could be misquoting him, but in Purple Rain, he said that. But it's the same thing. You know, people are creating things that they're the only one that love it, and you have to. And that's the power of Web3. And if you don't build your community, you really miss the essence of what we're doing and the opportunity that's in front of you.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great. Lisa, you got any feedback?
No, I mean, what Imari said was right. I mean, to me, it's akin to a fan club.
Mm.
You know, like the only people that care about the Wu-Tang album are Wu-Tang fans, you know. And the same with, everybody else trying to get on it. It's like, well, why? I mean, to me, it's like merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have anybody to sell your concert merchandise to, like, what's the point? So it's great if you can monetize it, but nobody wants to buy anything. I mean, I could have sold my book as an NFT, but like, I mean, it's
Right, right. It's an emerging market,
Well, if
yeah,
you're
it is, and it's got a lot. Sorry.
No, I was going to say your next one. I like to help sell it as an NFT.
Yeah, my fan club.
I'll sell
Yeah.
each page as an NFT.
There you go.
Hey,
but yeah,
it's an
so
emerging market. Yeah, but go ahead, Lisa.
no, I was just saying it's that's what it is. It's like a fan club that you can sell your merchandise to, and if
Yeah,
you
but
don't have that, then what's the point?
yeah, and of course, we always are concerned in our community about us being missing out. We always talk about us being consumers first and not making money off. We know we're the tech. We're the culture makers, whether it be music, entertainment, sports,
Right.
so many different ways. We're the ones that folks are following, and I think that this technology is giving to people, because I'm looking at some of these younger artists. I may not like their music like I like my generation of music, but I know those cats are making a whole lot of money, or they faking it real good, and it may be a little bit of both. But and a lot
Can
of
I
them
just
are
say
doing
one
it.
thing? Can I
Go ahead.
add one thing to that because it's
Yeah.
important on the power of NFTs? So in the Congo, where all the statues and the artifacts were stolen and
Mm-hmm.
they were put in European museums, and what the Congolese people did is they actually made NFTs of the stolen art, and they started selling those NFTs. And then the museums that had the actual artwork were like, well, you can't do that because you're diminishing the value. And it was like, you stole our art and you're not giving it back to us. So guess what? We're going to sell it and we're going to make money off of it and we're going to profit off of our art the way we want to. And they've done that. So I think you're going to start seeing these movements happening, because how can you sue someone if you stole their work and now you can't really sue them? So they're like, well, we're going to sell it. So it's empowering the people in a way. And Africa is really so far ahead of where we are as here as Black Americans, that American dollars and VC money is now going over to Africa because we're not doing the things here that we should be doing. And that's the power of what's happening. And I'm getting, like, my content is coming, a lot of my educational content comes directly from Nigeria. Why? Because they're already building systems and curriculums that we're just not doing here. So
Mm-hmm.
if we want to get those dollars, we really have to start doing the things and building the infrastructure and the businesses here, so that they can then invest in Black America here as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to appreciate you, both of you,
Absolutely.
for coming on today and giving us such great insight. You can a lot of the websites are in the chat. I know that we got to put Lisa's website in the chat. If you can help me with that, Raquel, so we can get her information out there and give out people opportunity to buy this book. As I mentioned, here it is, beautiful cover. I'm about a third of the way through. I want to finish that thing up so I can give that legitimate review. Good to hear that, Imari. We were talking about the July date. We thought it was a little bit of aggressive to do the Rock Art X in July, and so now being able to move it back to September, I'm looking forward to have an opportunity to share with the community, see who we can get to help sponsor this thing, because what we know is that it takes cash to pull it off. So
And there's probably nothing, again, more important than this. I don't know if the links to the site came up in the chat for everyone that's watching, but we could share those later. But again, I think this is one of the most. I don't see anything else more important than this topic right now, because this is the future.
Yeah.
And we have to be part of the future. I know I want to be in the future, and I know I want people that look like me to be in the future. So if we're going to play in this space, we gotta, and on a good day, I'll leave with this, because brother Melvin, I could chat and talk, brother Miguel and Raquel, but I will say this: on a good day, we're about 8 years behind. On a bad day, we're about 10+ years behind. So we got a lot of work to do.
So we'll still, don't forget, we will be on Twitter Spaces here in about 3 or 4 minutes to continue this conversation with Imari. If you guys want to engage with him directly, that Twitter Space link is in the chat. We'll be there shortly. Lisa, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Glad we fought through the audio piece. Raquel, go ahead, sis.
Yeah, before we jump off, I just like to always kind of reiterate some key takeaways. Just trademarking is an art. And just also, one of the questions I had: how do we make lawyers our friends? Because a lot of us are so intimidated. We usually hire lawyers when we get in trouble. But when you said, as an artist and an entertainer, just when somebody hands you paperwork, get one of your legal friends that you can afford to look that over. And then things like you talked about,
that who practices in that area.
Yep.
Because it's different. It's different.
And don't
so
ask.
I think
don't ask the friend, the lawyer you're trying to make a friend, for legal advice every time you see him. I put that out there for you, Lisa. Just
all right.
Thank you.
And also, don't buy Lisa's book, and that's going to give you all your legal answers.
Absolutely not.
That's just a guide.
Yeah, I mean, I did really write it so people could really digest these complex legal issues and really get the information that they need. And I spent 25 years breaking down complex legal issues in layperson's terms, and that's what's in the book.
Gotcha. Well, we appreciate you all. And Imari, I'll see you here in just a minute. Lisa, feel free. I know you're busy. If you want to jump on the Twitter space, we'll be there to continue the conversation. All right, thanks.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Okay, bye. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Raquel. Great show as always. Couple little bumps in the road for our Zoom audience. Please accept our apologies. The audio feedback was a little bit much, and so I want to give everyone an opportunity, because our Black Chamber community loves the Zoom audience piece, and we wanted to give you that today. And for some reason the audio wasn't agreeing with us. So for those of you who moved over here to Facebook, we appreciate you. This show will be uploaded to Zoom and to YouTube, here shortly. We'll have it up there. And then, like I said, join us over there on Twitter Spaces here very shortly. Rocky, you got anything before we drop off?
Real quick, we talked about what happened in May. Let me just tell you guys what's going on in June. So join Miguel, myself, and possibly Melvin on June 7th for the South Metro networking event. I purposely skipped one. I'm going to save it for the end. On June 10th, we're doing the Shotgun Trap and Skeet coming out of our Veterans Entrepreneur Group. And on June 18th, we're going to do a prostate screening. So just pay attention for that. And let's go back to June 3rd, which is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We are having our first Friday, and we are super excited about that.
Absolutely. We haven't had First Friday in a long time. Looking forward to meeting you all. Anybody who's been to an event where I've had some hosting duties, I'm always excited about seeing people I've never seen before, and that's something we've seen on a continual basis here. Shout out to the leadership of Atlanta Black Chamber for the growth we've seen over the last few years. All right, home team, if you want to join us on catch the end of it and want to check out us on Twitter Spaces, we'll be on there in just a minute. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. God bless. We'll talk to you all next month.